Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Rotaract of Roseau Entrepreneurship. What does it take? Discussion. We ask Assistant Secretary Treasurer Bianca to do the opening prayer.
Good evening, everyone. Let's all stand for prayer. And for all that has been, Father, we thank you for life and strength, to bring us safely. We pray that whatever we are going to do here, Father, it moves smoothly, we will well with it, and the questions flow, and we have a great discussion. We ask you to press the voices of the panelists and everybody else here, and those on Zoom, and protect everyone who's on their way. We ask this in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you.
Allow me to introduce tonight's host. Husband, father, Rotarian, poet, writer, sci-fi enthusiast, business technology consultant. Grayson J. Stedman Jr. is the son of Rotary past president, PHF Grayson Stedman Sr. and Annette John Stedman. He has a total of 5 siblings and wife, Rotaract Ayaka Jane Stedman, with whom they have a young daughter. Grayson has worked in the information technology field for over 25 years, adding considerable value to several private sector organizations. He is the CEO and founder of Eclypse Technology, a business technology solutions and consultancy company. Through his company, Eclypse, he transforms the way businesses view technology and the way technology companies provide solutions to businesses. Grayson began his career teaching computer science at his alma mater, the St. Mary's Academy. He has also worked at such places as Broadcasting, Mapping Telecoms and Broadcasting, HHB Research and Company Limited, Auto Trading Limited, Firefoot Inc., and Central Cooperative Credit Union, often building up their computer networks from scratch. Grayson has also served as the founding president of the Dominique Association of Information Technology Professionals, Vice President of the Internet Society Dominique. Grayson has a passion for learning, having started off his career as a teacher and holds several certificates from the University of Pennsylvania, University of California, University of Virginia, and the University of the West Indies, among others, in such varied fields of marketing, human resource, project management, small business management, IT management, and finance. Grayson is passionate about giving back to his community and serves as the 2021-2022 president of the Rotary Club of Dominique. He has served as secretary, club admin, service projects, and public relations chair of the board's missions for several years, Rotaract liaison officer, and has achieved the distinction of Paul Harris Fellow. Prior to joining Rotary, he became a member of the Rotaract of Roseau and served as president, vice president, finance and international chair, as well as district liaison officer, district webmaster, district editor, and district international service liaison officer. Grayson lives by the motto, make life better, where he constantly endeavors to not only make his and his family's life better, but also the life of everyone he interacts with. Grayson, thank you.
Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce our esteemed panelists today. Davidson Edwards, or Tony, is a 30-year-old Dominican technology entrepreneur and co-founder of Shopdm. Shopdm is a local e-commerce platform that enables you to buy online from Dominican stores and get your shopping delivered island-wide. Tony's main interest is in Dominica's economic development. His chosen tools are based on his background in both software development and in business. His interests and background are reflected in his daily work at Shopdm, which has now generated close to 100,000 EC dollars for local Dominican businesses. Tony's previous working experiences are also rooted in both technology and business. He was previously the Chief Technology Officer at Borisha Technologies Limited, a tech startup operating between London and Uganda to provide digital loans to East African farmers. Before that, he was the lead software engineer at Script Technologies Limited before its acquisition by Facebook in 2020. Tony holds 2 master's degrees from the University of Oxford. One is an MSc Computer Science and the other is a Master's of Business Administration. Tony believes that Dominica has everything it needs to push forward its own development, and he hopes that his work at Shopdm can play some role in that. He is very thankful for this opportunity to discuss some ideas on technology, business, and economic development with the Rotaract Club of Roseau. Welcome, Tony. Also with us, Ghandi Robin is a 52-year-old Dominican tech entrepreneur and co-founder of Shopdm. At Shopdm, Ghandi focuses on managing relationships with customers, stores, and delivery partners. Under his leadership, Shopdm has formed relationships with over 100 local businesses, completed 600 orders, and has built an island-wide delivery network that routinely delivers to Capuchin, Grand Port, and Point Michel. Ghandi's path to Shopdm has been rooted in real-world working experience, which have kept him close to customers and exposed him to many of Dominica's main industries. For the last 7 years, he has run a seafood distribution business, buying, selling, and delivering seafood to local restaurants and hotels. Along his journey, he has jumped into experiences as diverse as diving in the Atlantic Ocean to catch his own fish, to guiding tourists to natural attractions, to marketing for a previous e-commerce company. Ghandi's real passion lies in the breakdancing and breaking art form. In his free time, he tutors a group of 10 young students in dance, and he has recently formed the Dominica Breaking Association to help them prepare to compete under Dominica's flag at the Olympics. Impressive. At Shopdm, Ghandi and Tony share the same interest in pushing forward Dominica's economic development. This has become one of the core values that guides their decision-making on who to partner with, what products to promote, and how to charge for services. Ghandi hopes that Shopdm can become an example of what successful partnership can achieve in Dominica. He believes we can achieve more if we figure out how to better work together, whether within a company, as with co-owning Shopdm, or across businesses, as with Shopdm's partner network. Welcome, Ghandi. Kreig Harris is the CEO of KAHZ Creative Inc. and KAHZ Media Production. His passion for music creation led to photography and videography, which is now leading him to the world of business. KAHZ Media Productions is a multifaceted production and digital agency offering a range of creative solutions to support businesses and organizations, while KAHZ Creative Inc. is a results-driven creative marketing agency that drives engagement and builds awareness for brands seeking to become a market leader. Kreig is a creator of the Made in Dominica video series, which features Dominican artists, creators, producers, and entrepreneurs seeking to have a positive impact on the country. He has created music videos for singer Mary Pascal, as well as music production. Kreig strongly believes that we have a lot of amazing products here in Dominica, but serious conversation needs to be made on building brands. Welcome, Kreig. Linvor Ambo is a founder of Adosi Business Ventures Inc., which produces Choco Dominique branded products. Choco Dominique branded products. Choco Dominique cocoa powder, which is used to quickly make our traditional cocoa tea, Choco Dominique chocolate, which features both milk and dark chocolate. Alawzi is a small business but has been operating for the last 8 years while overcoming both natural and economic disasters. Like I said, your products are very delicious. Luana is the founder and CEO of Finance Focus Consultancy, a financial literacy company in Dominica, which teaches and coaches individuals and entrepreneurs money management. She's also an examiner by profession at the Financial Services Unit in the Ministry of Finance and has been in the position from June 2017. Luana has over 10 years experience in public tax and accounting. Luana is a financial coach and speaker, as well as a member of several national boards, to include the Dominica State College. She's also director of the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce. She's an advocate for youth and currently is the treasurer of the National Youth Council of Dominica. Luana serves her community as a Rotarian in the Rotary Club of Dominica and serves as the director of membership. And at the time of her term, she previously served as treasurer of the club for 2 years. Luana holds several designations to include Master of Science in International Finance and Bachelor of Science in Accounting. She's currently pursuing her KAHZ certification in anti-money laundering. Luana is also a part-time tutor at the University of the West Indies. Luana has received several awards and has been a widely known speaker across Dominica on topics of financial literacy, money management, financial and business management. She has been a featured speaker at many regional conferences, including BF Inc. World Symposium and CIWIL and WENC Virtual International Women's Day Conference. She has been featured in numerous regional articles, including Blue Caribbean. She is a firm believer of the value that financial education can bring, of what financial education can bring to our lives and businesses. She also enjoys speaking to educate, motivate, and inspire others. Welcome to her. So welcome again to all of our esteemed panelists. It's good to have a very lively discussion today. So to get into it, put in ladies first, but why don't you tell us, I know Finance Focus is practically a household name now, and you are well known throughout Dominica. Why don't you tell us a bit about what inspired Finance Focus? How did you get the idea to start that business of Finance Focus?
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you all this evening. Thank you for inviting me. Finance Focus was inspired by my own experience. In my younger youth, I had poor money management skills, and it got worse when I attended university. I had student loan, credit card debts, very little savings, and I was living from paycheck to paycheck, even though I was employed. And I went to a foreign country to pursue my degree with that same bad spending habits. So you can only imagine how I was trying to survive. When I realized what was happening to me, I sought to improve my financial education, and I started overcoming these challenges. So when I returned back home, I realized that I enjoyed learning that so much that I wanted to share with people as well how to improve their financial situation. So I started a Facebook page and I started sharing free financial tips. And I later extended my content to include business management tips for entrepreneurs. And 5 years later, here we are. We have a YouTube series, we have public speaking opportunities, we have a website, and we've been sharing financial literacy to Dominica, the region, and internationally, and have become known as a resource for personal and business finance that we can now monetize.
Thank you very much. Linvor, how about you?
Yes, good. On. Hello? Okay, it's good. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invite. So Choco Dominique started 8 years ago, but the inspiration came from just growing up in Dominica and just drinking cocoa tea and being, yeah, that's the best start. And then, you know, I always liked business. As a young age, since in all throughout high school, my group of friends would just talk about business ideas and stuff. And even the whole company name, Alozi, it was a name we had in high school that we said that we would, you know, after school, we'll start something together. And, you know, everyone went away and I wasn't one left, so I just continued. But the whole concept of the cocoa powder came from just being busy and boiling cocoa sticks. And I wanted a way that was faster for myself. And I did it. That was, I said, Choco Dominic 1.0. And my family started using it. And then I just decided, you know, let me try it in the shop. It was in Jubla at the time. And with a friend of mine in Ghandi. And then the feedback from the public was like very good. And we just continued from there. And, you know, just the concept that, you know, I came from an agricultural family and I see that, you know, the whole food processing, you know, everybody must eat every day. And I just like the whole concept of food processing. I think it's a very consistent business. And, you know, we right now, Alozi Business Ventures, we trying to just make sure we solidify Choco Dominic and then to expand into other stuff. But that's the inspiration of how we came up with Choco Dominic.
That's very inspirational.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me here. Coincidentally, when I launched my business, when I went full-time in 2017, the Rotary Club of Dominica, not Rotaract, the Rotary Club of Dominica was actually one of my first clients, and they were there for about 2-3 years before COVID hit us. But yeah, and having them as a client really allowed me to transition from having a job into moving into self-employment and business. So it's a pleasure for me to be here with the Rotaractors right now. So my background started in music. That's where my background in creativity started. Many years ago in bouillon bands and, you know, producing music and stuff. And fast track to around 10 years ago, I started working in the field of IT. In fact, I still work with Grayson at Fine Foods and Rotary. Right. Yeah, doing IT, and he actually taught me quite a bit. So yeah, I mean, I did that job for 6 years. It was actually, you know, an excellent job, a lot of great people. But it got to a point where it just started to get repetitive for me, and I felt like I just couldn't. It wasn't a job you can express yourself. It's IT, you have to do things a certain way, the same way, and there's only so much you can do. And, you know, I started reading while I was there. I started expanding my, you know, opening up my mind, and I got to a point where I figured, boy, if I have to try some business and stuff, probably now is the time. And I figure, you know, I can take the leap of faith. And like I said, the Rotary Club of Dominica allowed me to survive for the first couple of years because they have calendar events for the entire year. And I was lucky enough to be able to offer services. The journey moved from strictly about creative expression and is now moving into how can I use that creative expression and creativity to help some of our brands in Dominica. I haven't done economics anywhere in any school, any course, but I came to a realization some time ago that unless money is coming into the economy, all you have is money moving from pocket to pocket. And I believe one of the key ways that we can have money coming in is, you know, through export, through selling stuff outside of Dominica. And that's where we have all of our brands like Choco Dominic and JD's Naturals and all of these, you know, brands coming up. So we're in the process of currently just positioning to become that branding and creative agency to help slingshot, the brands that looking to go out into the world and stuff. So thanks for having me here.
And I remember very clearly when Kreig made that transition from when we worked together to going on. I'm very proud of the accomplishment.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, okay, good. All right, thank you for having me. So basically I would say the idea of Shopdm, the inspiration, everything, it kind of comes from my dedication to being an entrepreneur from the start. Basically saying that I've been working at creating something. I've tried different businesses before. Some have failed, some have bear different results. I've had ideas, and one of them was an e-commerce platform, which Tony and I actually discussed a little while back while he was out of state, and it just so happened that he came back. He was prepared to do what was necessary, and based on my experience and hands-on work, I was prepared. We had a few discussions, and basically we figured this is a partnership that can really work out. We have a problem that we could solve, or we found a problem that needed solving, and we could have a go at it. So simply put.
I can add to that. So the idea for Shopdm, like Ghandi said, him and I, we actually went to high school together, so we've known each other for a long time. And the thing is, Ghandi was always into business, and myself. I think aside from just being into business, we both really wanted to solve a problem in the government society. So for a very long time, like I had no idea what that problem would be. All I knew is, but I figured my contribution to the best come from the angle of software development. That's what I've been studying. I was really interested in that. But I went through all those nice experiences, like they mentioned in my bio. But it was actually all geared at giving me the ability to build technology, because I just had this instinct that I'm used to. And then fast forward to March 2020, so I came down. Ghandi and I had previously spoken about commerce. I came down, and that was like in a close COVID. So there was this big thing about you're not supposed to go to the stores, but no one was answering the question of, well, how would you get the stuff you need to continue your life daily? And then it's like, well, obviously the way how to do that, doing it is through e-commerce. So Ghandi and I started the conversation, and then started to Shopdm. I started writing code. He already knew about suppliers, and
Thank you very much. For continuing, just to those that are connected on Zoom, if you have any questions, just send in the chat, and we will address those questions, as many questions as we can during the Q&A session. Now, you mentioned COVID. So basically, your company actually benefited from COVID. You created an issue that you could solve.
Yeah, I mean, yes, definitely. It can be fair like that. I mean, you can also argue if there wasn't COVID, there would be higher level of physical sectors. But I think it's really interesting. I looked into the history of Alibaba, right? So for those of you that don't know, Alibaba is like, I think, the biggest e-commerce platform in the world, bigger than Amazon. But Alibaba was started way back in 2000, but their adoption really started, I think, in the late 2002, because of the SARS outbreak in China. You know, so it's really
That's what gave them the advantage.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, much like Shopdm, you know, it wasn't fully planned, but I think anytime you're thinking about business as a vehicle to solve problems, then you're kind of inherently looking for problems. And you know, COVID was a very big problem. So yeah,
Thank you.
it is a very big problem.
Now, what advice, and this goes to the entire panel, what advice would you have for a person trying to get into business, especially now in this post-COVID environment? And to the other panelists, how has COVID affected your business? And what advice do you have to the youth?
Okay, well, for Choco Dominique, COVID was horrible. Because before COVID, we were in all stores in St. Martin, both French and Dutch side, and we were in Guadeloupe in the Carrefour supermarkets. And then that was just kind of before COVID reached Dominica. And that was when we actually finally got our export market. And then you find that when the heat of the COVID came in the Caribbean with the full lockdowns and stuff, and people spending less, and I'll get into spending less in a while, but you find that our distributors obviously started ordering less, sales were slower, and then you find that even recently with the protests they had in the French countries, so we haven't had any export at all. But on the flip side, that kind of allowed me to really push locally, and we started traveling, going around the island doing distribution. And that allowed me to have a real more personal relationship with all the shops on the island and stuff. And also to just kind of solidify and push the product here instead. And that's it. What's that? The advice, coming back to solving something. Even now you find whatever business you do, make sure it's solving something. In terms of Choco Dominique now, even in addition to it being faster in terms of the price point, you find that the price of cocoa has increased in the last 8 years from $5 to $9, $9/$10 within that 8-year period. And even now during COVID, you find that prices of like products are also increasing. And us at Choco Dominique, we managed to keep it like the same price. So, that's still solving an issue. Everyone complains about price increase, but we still, making it affordable so that everyone can afford it. So anyone who wants to start a business, make sure it's just solving a problem and do it as efficiently as possible and to the best of your ability.
Thank you. And I think you've raised an important point that whenever something happens, the ability to pivot and change your approach.
Yes.
COVID-19 propels my business. And you can understand why. My business is two parts. I work with individuals for personal finance, and I work with entrepreneurs with accounting records. So on the personal finance side, everybody was watching your pockets. Everybody wanted to know how to manage money, how to start saving, because a lot of people lost their jobs at the start of COVID and they wanted to count their coins. And the entrepreneurs wanted to seek funding and grants, so they had to get their books in order. So the accounting side of the business took off. Everybody wanted to be in good graces at that point in time. So I can say that I've been blessed by COVID-19 when it comes to my business. The advice I would give to young people who want to start business in a COVID-19 pandemic era, the pandemic in itself, it opened the door for micro and small businesses. Prior to that, people were cautious about entrepreneurship. They were fearful, they didn't know what that road was like. But right now, everybody's trying something. They want to try something. We are told to monetize our skills and talents, pursue your passion, pursue your purpose. But if that is you, I would like you to slow down and think. Because if your purpose and your passion, your idea there's already a saturated market for it, you need to step back and do some market research. So you do a SWOT analysis, and you can even take it a step further and do a SWOT analysis on the person you think might be your direct competitor. Because what you want to avoid is deliberately going into an oversaturated market, which will make it even harder to compete for you. So if you're moving into business, whether now or later when the pandemic dies down, like the panelists have said, ensure that there's a need, ensure it's solving a problem, but also ensure there's a market to pay for it continuously. And you can only find that out by doing market research.
Thank you. Next, so the question is, how did COVID affect your business, and what advice would you have to persons looking to start a business in this post-COVID environment?
Okay. On the onset of the pandemic, my business was actually just starting to grind the code, the graph. It has really starting to come. I mean, it was just after Carnival, and I was like, yo, that Carnival season, things will be up, like literally every day from Thursday to Ash Wednesday. I was booked, and I was like, okay, so the work I've put in over the past 3 years finally starting to pay off. Yeah. And right, and it was a hard blow. I, however, I had to get creative. So apart from offering my services to other individuals, I sometimes just go out to, take shots in nature and stuff. So you know what? I said, let me see if I can, Campbell started a printing service. I said, let me see if I can start selling some art. So I did create the call list, and I started literally calling people up, say, yo, I have photos you can put on the wall. And I did that for a while, and I started making that work. And then, because the business I was in, when you were discussing whether or not your business is a critical business or important, we were not even mentioned. We were not even mentioned at all. We were completely not considered. So there was a period where I really couldn't go out and work. And then things had to ease up. And then actually the scenario changed where some opportunities presented themselves strictly because of COVID, and also the organizations that were active in Dominica trying and help manage the pandemic. A lot of opportunities came through. The advice I would like to leave, or I'll start to give some of you all is, and it's not just necessarily for the COVID era, but when you go into business, I mean, I heard them spoke about select something that can actually make money, so I wouldn't say that again. But manage your expectations when you go into entrepreneurship. Buckle up, all right? You're only gonna survive this if you expect it to be difficult and go into it expecting it to be difficult. Don't go in expecting it to be glamorous. All right, you go in expecting it to be challenging and prepare for anything, and I feel that will go a long way in helping you ride it out, because it's going to take a lot from you before you start getting anything back from it. You have to get used to being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? There's nothing normal about that. The human body is not, the brain is not designed for that. I would say you're literally fighting against human nature when you try to become an entrepreneur. When you really want to go in and establish something for the long run, you're fighting against human nature. And your human nature is fighting back. And you have to deal with fear, you have to deal with everything that comes up. So it's not generally for just for COVID, but generally buckle up, I would say, and prepare for a challenge.
Very wise word. The nature of business is to you have a steady job, you get a fixed amount every month, no matter what, whether the company you work for sales goes up or down, you have that steady amount. But when you're working on your own, you are the one responsible for how much is coming in.
I 100% agree. And Tony spoke a little bit on the COVID situation when we started operating. So I'll speak a little bit more on general entrepreneurship. I feel like entrepreneurship or being an entrepreneur is more of a lifestyle. It's a mindset. like you said, you're going to be amazed at yourself and how tough you are at the point when at the point when you feel like you're getting things done and this idea is so good and then you meet other people. Just like that. You meet other people and they're like, what are you trying to do? Where are you trying to do it? In Dominique, right?
I think we might have great ideas, but people don't see the vision.
And it's not just Dominica, it's anywhere you try to be an entrepreneur, you're going to come across these challenges. And one of the main things I would say that I like had to learn or get comfortable with is the willingness to fail. Just fail publicly. I have an idea, figure out the best strategy to go about doing it, and then being willing to fail and pick up, or as you said, pivot, or do something else. And that is something I feel that holds back a lot of people. Like you want to do something, you want to try something, you have a good idea, but you're like, man, everybody's gonna, if I fail at this, then or am I gonna try something else? I'm gonna try something else, and then somebody's gonna be look at me and be like, oh, that wasn't the pattern I was doing that. That's a mindset thing. Failing is learning. Even within Shopdm as the startup it is, we have a saying where we try to fail as fast as possible so that we learn what we need to learn as fast as possible, because time is money. Yeah. Secondly, like honing your skills, because it's a lot easier to dominate a market if you're the best at what you do, or at least really good at what you do. So, we all talk about passion and everything. Someone might get into a business because they're like, okay, this is a lucrative business venture, there's money, but they're not matched in the sense of skill set. And that always causes a great amount of discomfort, especially when you get to the point of the challenges. And yeah, just so that I'm not too long, the last one, like, of course, partnerships. One, I've had businesses not work out because of bad partnerships or no partnerships. Because sometimes you feel like you want to get it done, you do it yourself. You want to get as much done as you can and can't depend on somebody else. But like really, no one has ever done anything great on their own, right? It always takes some group of people or somebody else to help you to get to that level of achievement that you want. So yeah, both within the business, the partnership is a big part of our success, and even the businesses that we partner with, that like speaks volume to the effect that we want to have on the economy, the effect that we want to have on individuals and the customers that we are trying to solve the problem for.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, some of what you all just said sounds a bit scary, but we know that being an entrepreneur does have its benefits, but it takes a lot of work. So why don't you share with the audience some of the steps needed to get started? What licenses you need to do, what documents you need to register, how do we get started from? So if I wake up tomorrow, I decide I want to go on my own, I want to start my own business. What are the steps necessary to get there? Okay. Open to anyone. Rhonda, it seems that you're the most knowledgeable in this area.
Apparently, you see, a business resource. So you wake up tomorrow morning, you have this business idea that's been weighing on your mind. What's the first thing to do? So you have a plan. You need a plan. You're going to wake up and you're going to figure out, what is it that I want to do? Can this idea make money? Will it make money? Is it sustainable? Is it a sustainable business idea? So the first thing you'll need is a business plan. You don't really need a professional at that point. You can start writing down your points yourself. Your brain is not to store, your brain is to create. So whatever business idea that you have, start writing your points down. Who you want to target? How is it going to make money for you? And remember, we want to make money continuously. So you take it a step further, you want somebody to refine that plan for you, and you get a professional. Once your plan is complete, your next step is registering your business name. A lot of people jump to register companies once they have an idea. I usually recommend against that, because you want to start off small, especially if your idea isn't 100% refined. So at least register your business name so that nobody can take it. You know, you have a little side hustle, you figure maybe this can make money. You try it one time, you realize this is a real good thing. You make a Facebook page and you start building interest. Secure your business name, because somebody can see that you're doing something and they might decide to take your name because you're popular, you're great. So you will do that at the company's and intellectual office. That's the office that registers businesses and companies. But you can do that online. Fill out the information, the location, the details, the business name that you want to start with, who owns the company. If it's a partnership, you go ahead and you do that. Once you've been approved, you will receive a certificate of registration and your statement of affairs. Now, most small business owners and entrepreneurs, at that point, they pack away that document. But we'll come back to that just now. After you've been approved, you got your certificate of registration, you then go to the inland revenue. Because at that point, you want to know whether you qualify for various permits and licenses, whether you want to sell alcohol, you will need a liquor license. You want to sell products off a shelf in a shop, you will need a store and parlor license. If you have employees, you may have to register for pay as you earn. That's the monthly tax that you deduct from your salary. If you want to take it a step further and you're now going full-fledged into business, you will register with the Dominican Social Security. And if you have employees, you have to register to pay Social Security for these individuals. So there are a number of taxes, permits, and documents that you need to have at the Inland Revenue. Once you've been approved, you will receive a tax ID so that you can officially trade in the Commonwealth of Dominica. And if your income is more than 250,000, if you're starting off and you just leap into business all successfully, you will have to pay that. So it's important on your journey in registering a business to seek the proper advice so that you don't miss a step and time is wasted and you're walking back and forth between departments because you know we like people already, nothing is online. So you want to limit the amount of delays that you have. So seek advice in registering the business. I've given you a few steps. And of course, guys, let's get back to the documents. Whatever business registration documents you have, ensure that you secure it because you will need it to open a bank account. Many times as SMEs, we figure we have a side hustle. There's not really much money I'm pulling in, but one of the challenges with SMEs is mixing personal and business expenses. So you will want to take that step when you figure you're growing to open a separate bank account for your business, and you will need those business registration documents. I hope I was clear.
I just want to add one thing to that. Yes, so in addition to that, for younger people, it's always good to really try and educate yourself with the basic business, and also when you have your future plan, to at least have some form of knowledge about, incorporating and, giving equity in your business and those things. So it like really learn about business. And at least if you have the basic knowledge, now you can consult with the professionals, and while they're guiding you, at least have an idea of what they're telling you. And for younger people, I recommend the Dominique Youth Business Trust. That's a great way to start. They guide you through, and that's a great way to kind of start learning and just building your knowledge on the whole concept.
Very good point.
What I'd like to leave with you guys is not necessarily about these steps, but about looking at yourself. Because in business, you can be the variable, whether it works or it doesn't work. So you might have a business idea and you really don't know where to start. And sometimes the place you start is not going to register. It might mean go and spend some hours on YouTube. Honestly, go and start opening up your mind. Start whether or not it's
Or that.
Or that, I mean, I'm literally, I used to have done a degree program on YouTube over the past 3 years in branding and marketing. But start working on yourself, start building yourself. The great thing is that the Rotaract Club is already position you guys for to become entrepreneurs, teaching you all leadership, teaching you all teamwork, and most importantly, importance of serving others. Because when you any business, product based or service based, you're serving others. So really build yourself, build your character, look inwards, find out what are your weaknesses, because those weaknesses you have going and become weaknesses in the business. And as much as possible, try to do that. And don't be afraid to dream big. Don't be afraid to dream big. The solutions that we need to bring for Dominique, you have to be courageous. I mean, not everybody gonna decide is gonna take on a project like this, but everyone can if they build themselves up enough. So don't be afraid to dream big. Don't limit yourself.
Thank you.
I'll let Quinn speak on this one. So, I mean, some of our answers might seem
Did I say Stedman?
specific. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, honestly, I mean, the advice that that they give is, yeah, that's just it actually. The only stuff I can think of on top of all right, taking another angle, how would you start? Right, because I mean, again, both Ghandi and I have been thinking of business for so long, and I know for a long time, yeah, you're just nervous. You don't want to make a fool of yourself. You don't want to. So how would you start? By far, the best material I have ever come across that helped with starting was called the Lean Startup. If you haven't heard about this and you are serious about getting into business, especially if it's a product business and you think of it like a product startup, so something that doesn't really have a precedent. It's not that you're gonna go sell bread in a place where bread is already sold, but instead you want to think about, I don't know how to distribute, Dominican music across the region, and there's no precedent that. Do yourself a favor and read the Lean stuff. And the quick summary on that is, and probably this is a little different from like what Luana said, but I wouldn't focus too much on the formalities. Like, I would just get started. That's the thing. So you put together what they call an MVP, a minimum viable product, and that is the simplest form of your product that you think people might, like consumers might pay attention to, and you try to put that up to the market. And you're thinking of yourself as a scientist. Every step you take is not to make money. It's not to, it is, the currency is not money at that point. The currency is learning whether that business can work and how to work. So, for example, with Shopdm, I'm the one who's developing the software. At this point, we've been working on the software for about 2 years. But we launched in August 2020. So started writing code in April. That's when the initial idea started to form. We launched it in August 2020, and it was crap. Like it was so bad. Like looking at it now, it's just ugly. There's a lot of things I knew.
But you want to get it out there.
Yeah, we wanted to get it out there. There's lots of things like I don't want to put my name on that. You know what I mean? but the point is, we put it out and we learned like instantly. And because we knew that that was the approach we're taking, we set it up to it. So we set ourselves up to track things, to see what people pay attention to. And then that would mean that we could take the next step. So like to wrap up a tangible step, it's like when we launched, I think we had like 50 products, and they were all like locally manufactured products. Because again, the whole idea, the vision we had Shopdm is to help the economy. But we very quickly realized Dominicans were not that interested in that, not like local Dominicans. Like there's particular subsets of our market, like for instance, that's for example, interested in local manufacturers. But Dominicans in Dominica, the Dominican salary, were interested in ketchup, rice. So we had to just completely, immediately change what we had been doing and go start talking to businesses. But we only knew that because we were trying to build and we were trying to get that product in the market ASAP. So that is just to add to what they said, because I know I struggle with a lot of like kind of high level stuff and not like tangible. How do I implement these steps? Okay. So that's the lean startup.
Very, very good point. It reminds me, I think, of the Facebook model. They put it out there and they build it up over the years. And look at them now, one of the biggest companies as well.
Absolutely.
Now, a question back to you, and then to the others is, one of the challenges that businesses have when they first start up is determining what their price point is going, what are they going to charge, whether it's a service or a product. How do you go about determining that?
Okay, well, I'll start on this one. So I think at that point, you kind of have to clear what type of business. I touched on that a little bit in one of the in my last answer. So you can go the roads. There are different types of new businesses. They are like one of the best ways to separate it is they are business with a precedent. So the West calls those like traditional businesses, and then there are businesses that don't really have precedent. There isn't a market there. There is like no product like that has existed in that market before. So that's something that I mean, I don't want to use any of the buzzwords, but the thing is, if you can't point at 2 or 3 businesses that are in your head similar to that, then you're probably starting a kind of startup. And at that point, the point is you don't know what the price point is. You don't know what the price point is, you don't know what the market is, you don't know who the customers are, or if they are customers, if this is going to work. You don't know what the product should use, what the infrastructure should use. So just go with what you feel. Like that's what it is. Go with what you're trying to, like, if you're starting from that point, you're the one making the contribution. There isn't like at that point it's not, it's in that direction. So you have to put something out there and you have to see if people are interested. You have to ask them, you have to talk to your mom, because your mom is probably gonna be one of the first people that pay attention to your nonsense. And like she'll tell you, well, I talk to a friend, and they tell you, yeah, well, probably you'll find a frank friend of your mom. I should say, honestly, Tony, that's expensive. But like, yeah, I don't know, that is, and then just to cut myself off, I don't think so. If you're starting a business that has a precedent, so this is a new business in an established market. So you live in St. Joseph, there's a bread shop around the corner, you think you can make better bread, you put it out there, then you should start with market research. This business has a precedent. So you can already see what customers are willing to pay for that type of product. You shouldn't go and sell bread at $10. Nobody's going to buy bread. But like you can base it off of the previous business. If you think you're having a value add, yes, you can put more on top of it, but it should probably, be around $2, $1. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'd like to take it from the angle of value. I'm in a service-based business, and it's a creative service-based business, and it can be extremely challenging to find a price point. However, I've learned, and I'm learning, that the value of something is how much is it really the value to the customer, and how much you're willing to pay for it. And in the process of building your business or your product or your service, you have to really, you're gonna embark on that process of branding yourself. And branding your business, I mean, it's a question, that's another thing. I don't want to go into it yet. But in branding, you're really gonna position yourself. And if you're successful at it, you can literally get to decide how much you want to charge for your product. Because if you decide you want to brand yourself as a premium service or product, and you're successful at it, then people will be willing to pay for it. So as I say, it's very important to dream big, because it's possible. I mean, we know what's out there on Instagram and the rest of the world, and the ridiculous things people spend money on. And then you realize that it's not a matter of need. There's no direct relationship within the problem that it solves. And a lot of the time it makes no sense why certain things cost certain, so I'd say, yeah, pay attention to the brand that you're building, because
And also your audience.
your audience too, for sure. I mean, like I say, it has to do how much you're willing to pay for it, because the market is the deciding factor.
There's a high-end audience and there's low-end audience.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and then so you part of building a brand is knowing who your clientele is. Yeah, and know when you can position your product. So you're definitely right for adding that. So that's what I like to.
And exactly that. And in terms of Choco, Dominic, the interesting thing is I grew up in a village. So the culture in the village is, people go to garden or whatever, they come to a shop with, like, they buy $1 of this, $2 of that. They don't do large big groceries. And so when we started selling the product in a very simple packaging, and something that was competitive with something that was within the $1 to $2 range. And you realize that it clicked with the communities. And then you find now in Roseau, where you find, I guess, the people that have more disposable income, they preferred pretty boxes. Because I tried the single packs in Roseau, and you find that people still buy the boxes. So you really need to know who your customers are and price it accordingly. And we live in Dominica. Dominica have high income people, low income people. So create a product that everyone could afford it, basically. Well, that's for a consumable product, and make sure you're making a profit. That's all. Although there might be cases where you might, want to kind of get into a market. So you might have to kind of price it accordingly at maybe break even or something. But that isn't more in detail in the whole strategy. But that's it. Know your customer, know what they can afford, make the product the best that you can at the price that it is, and yeah.
Thank you.
I come from a place based on what Tony said and what Kreig said. When I started my business, there was no one in Dominica offering financial coaching. People didn't even know what financial coaching was. So I didn't know how to price. And when we get to the challenges question, you'll hear more about it. And I'm also in a service business, so I had to be very careful on how I priced. How I overcame that was through market research, because it's a consultancy, there are standard consultancy prices, but by identifying my audience and my target market, which took me a while to do, I could create packages for low income, middle income, and larger income. So that in itself assisted the process in creating the prices. You're not sure what to price, so you go ahead and give a price until somebody complains about it, and you and you rethink that. But you also create a brand around yourself so that people can see the value and the credibility in your products and services that they're willing to pay for it.
Thank you. Now, still on you, Luana. The next question is basically when starting off, obviously it's going to take funds. So it's a two-part question. One, what funding opportunities are out there? And two, do you look to start off on your pocket or take a loan, etc.?
Okay, to answer the hello. To answer the first part of the question, what funding opportunities are out there? There are bits. There's always funding available. You can go through the DYPC, access some grants, the GIC, the small business unit grants. Financial institutions are always willing to give loans. There is a particular facility that's available, the Eastern Caribbean Credit Guarantee Facility through the National Bank. If you don't have collateral or you aren't meeting the traditional bank credit standards, that facility is available. But with all other side, yes, the funding is available, but are you bankable? Will the bank give you money? Will you qualify for a grant? Yes, you have a business idea and everybody wants to give money to pivot businesses and all that, but have you convinced them to invest in you? Financial institutions, banks, they're businesses too. So you have to prove to them that your idea is sustainable, there's a willingness and ability to pay, and you will be earning enough cash to repay the loan. You're not overly indebted already, qualifying yourself for more debt. So yes, it is, you look for the funding opportunities that are available out there, but you need to ensure that you're first bankable. What does your financials say? Is that business growing? Does it have the potential to expand? The banks and the financial institutions, the grants, they're looking for that type of information. So all in all to say, make yourself bankable before you go and ask for money, or else you're gonna complain and say, the bank's not giving money. And every time I go, they're not giving me money. There's a reason behind that.
So that's a question I get asked a lot. For one, like she was saying, there are a lot of like ways to get small amounts of money. Yeah, and I realized the limit kind of has been $20,000 in Dominica, and for like where you don't need any collateral and those type of things. Anything more than that, you're going to need some form of collateral for the institution. For agro-processing and manufacturing, when I started, $20,000 was a lot. I was like, wow, and then I bought, basic equipments and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm ready to start business. Do a little production here, production there, 10 cases there. And, you feel like you have something. And then you realize that these small equipments are not made for commercial, everyday, heavy-duty production. And then they break down on you. And then you have to buy another one, and then your business is growing, and then they break down. And then you find that to get real commercial equipment, now you go into $70,000, $80,000, $100,000. And at that point, you don't have collateral, and that's where the challenge kind of starts. And from me being in agro-processing and being friends with a lot of agro-processors over the years, I realized that that's the one thing, you need, processing is a very capital intense thing. The equipment is everything. You need proper equipment, proper space, or else those breakdowns cause a month of, no production. That month is a month you still have loans to pay and bills to pay and employees to pay. And then you find that it adds up over the years. So I haven't solved how to get large financing as yet. Right now, we're just trying to do what we have. But when you're starting, join the Dominica Youth Business Trust. That's a great start. Once you younger than 35, you can get a loan guarantee of $20,000 to start, and go to the NDF, and just put yourself out there, register for everything. And like Shopdm team said the thing is to start. Better you start with $20,000 than you stay cry and say you don't have money. Start here and just build. So.
Yeah, start where you're able to find your resources, be it on your own, be it working, you know, you already have some source of income. That's what I actually did. When I was working, when you have a job, it's easier for you to get a loan, you're a less risky option. So I kind of, when I started to plan my exit, I like, okay, let me start with this. And I was able to take a loan and get some of the stuff that I needed to get going. So from day one, I already had resources. I could have started, you know, generating revenue. If I put that up with loans wherever I could. Like you said, 20,000 is the max. And I personally, you said the process of the loan application process, there's only so much I can take. Patience is not my strong suit, but it may be yours. So a lot of it for me is like when I started generating revenue, it was just a lot of sacrificing and reinvesting back into the business, reinvesting. As you start generating revenue, you start being exposed to a higher level of clientele, or you move in more product. It's not time to start raising your level of your standard of living. Now it's time to strengthen. And recently they actually took on an investment partner. No, that's not something that's embedded in our culture. That's not something we know, and it's the direction we should be going. The banks and all these institutions are not really designed to support entrepreneurs and dreamers and thinkers, but you have people out there that have some finances, and if you're able to convince them, they're crazy like you, and if you're able to prove your case, it's a road to take. But at that level, when you want to really looking to take that approach, it's important to dream big again. You know, it's important. You have to convince them that this is going to make sense in the long run, and you have to be willing to put it in yourself. You have to really put your skin in the game. And you know, there are people out there. I mean, hopefully, maybe finance focus would be the institutional organization to start laying that framework for investment in Dominica. There's a term for that doesn't come to mind right now.
Venture capitalist.
Just venture capitalist institutions. This is the direction that we need to go in Dominica. You know, a lot of our products and services and offerings, it can be marketed out there. It can be out there in international markets, but we need capital to go in. And if it means that every hardworking Dominican, you know, decide they want to invest something in, and you understand, then finance focus should start doing the avenue for that. So we can collectively start, you know, propelling the drivers.
So there are people in Dominica that do want to invest, and as Dominicans, it's difficult or there are roadblocks to invest in, say, the US stock market, etc.
Yeah.
But if there are opportunities to invest in local businesses, there are a lot of businesses.
Of course, I mean, we have the framework. The framework isn't there, and that's what we really need. Because we have like crazy people like Linvor and these guys, listen, and myself, you know, and you have so many other people out there with dreams, and they don't live with dreams, but they're actually working on it, and they invest in all that they can in terms of resources and time, but then the investment. So it's not a big part of our culture now, but with Dominica is to move forward, it needs to become.
I can just answer, Kreig.
Okay. She can, I'm enlightening us on the service.
So Kreig makes a great point when it comes to venture capitalism and investors putting money into businesses, but they will not do that if you don't have financials to prove that the business is capable of growing. That is one of the challenges I've seen in my business, where small businesses are looking for support from investors, and it's more affluent in individuals in Dominica. But when they're asked to show me your numbers, they cannot do that. So you will, before you can pursue that, you need to know your numbers. You need to have your numbers. The person's gonna ask you, what is your bottom line? How many clients do you have? What is your highest percentage of sale in the month? You need financials to know that information.
Then you can check plans focus.
Yeah, so yeah, it's very easy to get trapped in debt when you are trying to start a business and you are limited in the options you have for funding. Particularly if you have a startup, you don't know what is going to happen. You don't know what your product is yet. You don't know who your customers are yet, who the market is. You don't know your price point. Or I mean, even if you know your price point, or even if it's not particularly a startup, you're in an early stage of business. It is very risky to get into a loan situation. You lessen that risk by, let's say, having finance because maybe do your papers or you do a course with UIDT. But at the end of the day, the risk is always there. Something might happen. You have natural disasters, Maria, Erica. You have family emergencies. You have health emergencies, and it's just not the best thing to do at earlier stage to get into a loan, because at the end of the day, you are going to be responsible for that loan, which makes it, which would make it really good if, like everyone is saying, the culture adapted and went in the direction where we could have, you know, persons invest in ideas, you know, venture capitalist groups, and yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, but if you can get yourself to a certain stage in business without, you know, getting to a loan or getting, you know, like taking that risk, it would be the best thing. Like just push as far as you can go without taking a loan. Maybe you can even, you know, have a part-time job, or you know, it's gonna be part of your story and part of your hustle. You work your 8 to 5, you're saving up, you cut back on your lifestyle, but you know your dream and your objective is to reinvest that money, maybe over a year period, get into a point where you know you might just need to invest in more input, maybe you're labeling, maybe more equipment or something. So then, you know, you can consider taking a loan or something, you know.
Well, the financial institution is going to get that advice.
Yeah, I mean, like, so I really like talking about finances. So, right, so you asked the question was, should you go with a loan? Should you go with personal finance? Absolutely, 100%. I cannot think of a situation where you should start a business with a loan. Like, that is a terrible idea. Like, loans are a particular type of financial institution, sorry, a particular type of financial instrument, and they are designed for businesses with established revenue streams. That is the exact opposite of what you will be when you try to start a business. And then that leads to the obvious problem, right? Like in Dominica, like by far the main financial instrument available is a loan. You can get a loan, you can go to the bank and get a low interest loan, that's difficult to get. You can go to fast cash and get a high interest loan, that's easy to get. But in the end, you have a loan. You should, if you're gonna choose a loan, you should be high interest loan. but okay. I kind of want to take a broader look at this like time. So just because I really think it's useful to like walk into the door, there's So there's a spectrum. You can have loans/debt. It's the same. There's different ways. You can have grants. So loans are you take $1,000, you're asked to pay back $1,000 in interest, right? So you gotta pay more than that. Grants are someone understands what you're doing. Usually they're interested in the broader, the broader vision, the broader contribution that your business might make to society. So they give you that money. It's a donation. You won't have to pay it back. So if you see grants and you're eligible, you might want to try to get that. The one thing about grants is they are not often written with parameters that are suitable for the businesses. Grants are more for projects. You will actually say, we're going to do this, and this, and this, and this. Again, in an early stage business, you often don't know exactly what you're doing. And then there's equity. Equity is what Kreig was talking about. When you're like, if you're into business, if you're in myself, because you've probably been reading business books, you've been paying attention to like these big, low American and British entrepreneurs are like, oh my God, that's what, like, look, I just raised $50 million. What they're talking about, equity, not debt, equity financing. So the way that works is there are high net worth individuals or corporate, like let's say digital, like a big successful business, or the government. It's another institution that has been pivotal in starting off finances in parts of the world, including the US. And they will like pool money and then give it to a business. And sorry, not a business, they give it to a company. That's a key one. So like that's why you may really want to start a company. The difference between a company and a business is that it's not you. It's one of the weirdest ideas in the world. So when you start a company, it's like you make a baby. It's a new
incorporated.
Yeah, it's a new entity that exists in the world. You can like pay taxes, do all these things, and people can own parts of it. So once you have a company, like for instance, Ghandi owns part of our company, I own part of our company. It's just like I own the startup or you can own a car. So once you have a company, that's a vehicle for you to take investments, and then someone can come in, they can give you $100,000, and they can take like 10% of your company. So you sell equity for money to start. As for Shopdm, like the path we are going is we started with personal savings and finance. That's the only way we started in Dominique. We've since sold small amounts of equity and plan to sell large amounts. This is the way businesses like this have grown in developed parts of the world. Like it is really a disservice to be looking at people in a developing country struggling in the environment, trying to make things work, and then tell them, go to take a loan. You're the bad guy, you're not the development. You need to show it. Like no. Like when the white guys that I worked with in Grayson wanted to fund their company that eventually, like it was just an idea really. Like they worked with an accelerator, they got out, they raised £8 million. £8 million makes a difference. That's what happens. Like that's why you see them like with very well branded branded offices and their marketing can reach you in Dominique because you live somewhere where it's easier to get money than you. So very much what it is. Yeah.
Very, very, very good point. And as I say, unless you did like Kreig did, where he was already employed for another company while he took the loan, so he was able to use his salary to pay off that loan and get this equipment before he really went off on his own. But apart from that, I think you made a very, very valid point. You also mentioned about marketing. So we're almost out of time. But are we allowed to go extra? So tell us about, and I'll start with you, Kreig. How do you go about marketing your business and creating a
Well, I'm in a predicament right now with that question because I'm actually in the process of offering the service. However, what my focus, how I did it for my business in the beginning was just take very good care of my customers. I really wasn't out there trying and say I can do this, I can do it better than whoever, this and that. Nah, I got a few customers and I just took very good care of them. You understand? Um, that and then they start to refer you wherever it makes sense. The word of mouth marketing is the best form of marketing you have. Let's remember, marketing is not only putting an ad out there. Marketing has everything to do with your product, where you position your business, how you present it, to your customers and stuff. But if I were to give you, let's say, some tips in terms of marketing, and let's say marketing in terms of promotion, we live in a time where all of us have access to media, social media, and that's where everybody lives, primarily spend most of their free time. A large part of people spend most of their free time on social media consuming content. However, when you decide to put your brand on that platform, your business on that platform, and you are inclined to create content as well, just remember that people are not there to be sold to. They're not there for them to learn about the products or service. They're there to be entertained. They're there
To look at me.
Yeah, they're literally to just go. They want to go on an emotional journey. That's all we do on social media. See something that make us feel sad, and look at something that it just. You look at something in terms of news and just get scared for a moment, and it's just that high and low, high and low, high and low. So when you're gonna communicate with your customers on social media, which is primarily the go-to source of platform for marketing now, just remember that the people are there not to learn about the product or services. So present it to them in a way that it adds some form of value. Value is not necessarily that how can I say it? They're not looking for a solution. They're not there looking for a solution. They're there for entertainment. So it's up to you to find that middle ground where you can entertainment and present something that can pique their interest, and then that's where creativity comes in. You have to use your photo tool, your tools in terms of photography, videography, whatever you can. But just remember, when you put in things out there, people are not on social media looking for things to buy. They're really there to be entertained. So your content should fit in. Yeah, be able to find that middle ground. You understand? So that's as simple as I can leave it for you. If I have to go down that path of marketing,
But we can check it for you.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And touch on branding. Branding is literally you trying and establish how you want to be positioned in the mind of your business, of your customer. For example, if I say the word KFC there, no. There are certain things that quickly come to your mind. You can taste the chicken, you can smell it, you can see the colors, you just know what to expect, right? And that's what branding is. When people see your brand, represent your brand collateral, stuff like your logo and stuff, your colors, what comes to mind, right? So branding is literally going to be there for the entirety of your business. It's a process that doesn't stop. It's like it is the reputation of your business, so you should guard it with your life.
Okay, and in terms of Choco, Dominic, a product, first you want to know like what you want to get out of your marketing and stuff. And for us, we really wanted to concentrate on repeat customers. And in Dominica, as much as there's social media, but in our case, there are other people. There are other people in the community. So what we did was trying to have a more personal approach. And in our distribution, when we sell in, we stop and talk to people. We give out free samples. And something I intentionally do, like the loudest person I meet in each community, I'll give them like a free pack. And then I'll tell them about it and talk to them. And before you know it, you find the communities have done that in product pick up a lot faster. So, and then when I go there, anytime if I'm in a shop and someone comes to when I'm selling to the shopkeeper, someone comes in, I tell them and I'll say, hey, you ever try that now? I said, no, so you're not buying one today? I'll be like, no, well, look one, bring one. And then over time, over the 8 years, that has really made some real strong customers who really just share to their family and stuff. And I remember they said about constantly improving the product. When we started the product, right now it's really nice. We did the product now as of this month. It's better than last month because we had some nice improvements, and it's really good. So
you said me and buy it?
Yeah. It's not even in stores as yet. We're doing distribution next week. And you find that when I describe the product to people, it's like it's like the real product, blah blah blah. It's really good. And then I talking to them and you see them watching me, and then like just have a real connection with them. And I tell you, the word of mouth, they tell everybody, they ask people, and it really works. And then now and then we'll do the social media and stuff just to make people aware of it. So they're like, because it's on the shelves, they're going in the supermarkets. If they don't know it, most times they don't take it. So at least they may say, oh, I saw that online, let me try it. And then in addition to that, we constantly do in-store promotion. So we give people free cocoa tea, just make them try it. And a few times we do like little raffles. If you purchase one, you'll enter a raffle and stuff. So the thing is, we believe that the product is really good, and we are so confident that we give it free to people, and they are satisfied, so they come back. So it's real personal connections, and that's my take on how we do Choco.
Very good.
Okay, I'll be short. Marketing and branding is twofold, and Kreig expounded a lot on that. What I will say is, coming from a point where you can afford marketing for your business, don't try to do it on your own. Marketing is not my strong suit, so I like to outsource my weaknesses. But if you cannot afford to outsource your weakness, you can start with the basics, ensure that your messaging is clear, ensure you're targeting the right person, make sure that the message that you're putting out there is clear to readers. But all in all, an investment into your marketing is worth it, because in the long run, you spend $5 on marketing and it brings you 50. But like I said, if you're just starting off and you cannot do that, just ensure that you're targeting the right people and the message to your buyers, your clients is clear. Ensure that you're accessible to your customers, and they will bring people to you, because people buy from people. People don't buy from businesses. So ensure that your branding is clear everywhere you see me. I'm in green and gold, and people remember these two colors. We also sell emotions. My business is built on people's emotions. So when you see a tip telling you that, did you budget for it? Is it a need or want? What have you saved? You start to question yourself. And eventually you realize, I maybe need help. I should call finance for this. So sell on emotions.
Good point. I think there is another important point that you focus on your strengths and also your weaknesses. You can, when you're just starting off, yes, you have to be basically a one-man shop or one-woman shop, do everything yourself. As you grow, you need to let go of the things, the areas that you're not strong at, and let others take on those roles.
Like KAHZ.
So we'll be super brief on this. I think one thing that we've said a few times tonight is where we see business as a vehicle for solving problems, and I think that's what people care about. Like people inherently, people have their problems. They have some reason that they're looking for a product. Then a product is not a way to make money, but it's a solution. Right. So tell them that we solve the problem and how we solve it. That's something that we're trying to do. We do all our marketing because we don't want to spend on marketing yet. And we just like telling our story. Sometimes it's not just about selling. Marketing serves a few different purposes. So people can start kind of following you. They get really, if they share the vision, and we can just sometimes we just post like, hey, here we are in Shopdm, and people like it because they like the idea of what we're trying to build. So I would say, think of the problem you're trying to solve. Think of the why behind the communications, and just communicate that. Doesn't need to be shiny. Doesn't need to be on a fancy thing, it just be a good. Yeah.
The complications.
Sorry, one more thing. Referrals. Like if you just treat your customers well, they're gonna tell other people. And there's nothing that like makes someone buy, like hearing someone they trust tell them, hey, try this customer.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the products are referral.
Now, we're going to start wrapping up, but we spoke a lot about some of the risks that that person's face is starting off. Just want to touch on that a bit, but want to also end on a positive, because we don't want to scare people. So apart from just touching on some of the risks, also mentions ways you can overcome those risks and benefits of actually taking that leap into entrepreneurship. So, who would like to start?
Okay, so obviously it's a world of challenges when you get into a business. I think speaking from experience with my past and with Shopdm particularly, one of the greatest challenges is finding the best partnership you can find, finding people you can work with, finding partners, businesses that basically share the same value as you, that you can depend on, and that trust you, and basically you can try to achieve that goal instead of fighting about other things or like just getting in the way and so on. Like determination from both parties, the understanding, the mindset is very important. That's a challenge because it's very hard to find people who are as motivated as you are if they don't understand or don't see your vision. And yeah, that's a challenge by itself. Another challenge, particularly in Dominica, we were discussing is supply. So we have a solution, or we are working on a solution. Solution takes form. We have this product, and the product is to provide such and such a service to this market, but we need suppliers, and it's normal to hear, okay, you go to you start a business, you find your market, you find the demand, and then you work backwards. So you already have the sales, then you go get the product. That works in places very well where the supply chain flows, right?
Yeah.
But in the case of here, you can imagine if we're like, hey, for example, we have, you might have someone who wants to get into the market abroad, but then it's very difficult for them to even handle supplying here in Dominica, and it's not their fault, it's because maybe the base product that they need to create, whatever product that they try to supply, is not available, or there's not, yeah. There are a bunch of reasons. Yeah, so that's one of the biggest challenges.
But your platform helps solve that to some degree.
That's, of course, one of the things we're trying to solve. But again, it is a challenge, which is why we have a place in the market. Yeah, so yeah, but it is a challenge, and yeah.
Some time ago, I saw a post online that you get paid in direct proportion to the complexity of the problem you solve, and it's very true. In business, you're literally taking people's problem and make it your own. That's what you're really doing. But business itself and going into business is really just a aspect of your life, and it's meant to add value to your life. And I think it's important that, like I said from the beginning, brace yourself for the challenges that it is going to be challenging. Establish different degrees of business. You could want to do something like you do, let's say, for example, accounting, bookkeeping services in the night when you go home as a side gig, and that will add value to your life, and it doesn't take so much away from, from your routine and your security and your comfort. However, there's the other extreme to that, where you're all in, and a large part of your life being successful is your business being successful. So it's important that you set yourself up as much as you can to succeed even before you start. Like I say, build yourself personally, do quite a bit of reading, enhance your, how you spend your time. There's no such thing as free time, really. Free time, there's a cost to it, and it's really the cost of the standard of your life and whatever you're looking to accomplish in life. Establish that vision and build yourself up as much as you can, and find something that gives you joy to do, because it's work. When you look at even how a traditional job is set up from the time you're 18 to the time you're 65, right? You're working for 8 hours a day, you're sleeping for 8 hours a day, and between that, you just have other routine stuff. So
You get 8 hours of sleep?
No, I mean generally, like not for me. Like I said, for people with a typical job, So it takes up a large part of your life, and what you don't want is at the end of that, you die and you just live an incomplete life. So I'd say find something that's worth doing, man. Before you just jump in, you have to enjoy. It's all in the process. There's nothing really at the end of it. I mean, you might reach a target or a goal, and then it's just that a fleeting moment, and you find, I mean, when I started, I thought it was some money I was doing it, and then when I look back at the revenue that the business made, it's not like it made so much money, but it made from what I was making from having a job, it made more, but it wasn't significant. And all that matters is that how am I going to feel tomorrow? Do I have something to look forward to, and that type of stuff? So I'd say find something that's worth doing, and even when you get tough, that you just quit on it, because like I say, it's just challenges.
Yeah. Well, life is an experience. You only have one. And for me, to kind of be disappointed if I live my whole life, and then in my old age, I think back and think, I should have done more. And, every morning I wake up, there's something to be solved. And my personality from a young child, I always like solving things. I always like challenging myself. I get very bored when things are repetitive and simple. So I would say, search yourself, know yourself, be honest with yourself. And if you know that, you have to make the decision that you're gonna, just push, and when things good, celebrate; when things bad, you push. And that's just how it is. And that's anything in life. When you have your family, there'll be good days, there'll be bad days. You just have to keep pushing as a human being. So there is a challenge in everything, but for me, business is very entertaining. Every day you wake up is something new. You meet people, you grow, you develop new things, you solve problems. I find it's very rewarding. Yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, and there's a difference between an entrepreneur and a small business owner. A business owner is somebody who just manages operations. An entrepreneur is creative, they're disciplined, they like to take risks. So ensure that you have these characteristics before pursuing entrepreneurship. It's not for everybody. And I'm coming from a place of experience where every day I experience challenges in my business, such as building credibility. Sometimes I forget to ask for business and referrals, but it's something you need to do when you're starting up. as Kreig said, you want to put your all into your business, but be mindful of neglecting your personal life and getting burnt out. And I'm coming from a place where just recently I got very sick because I am going like a machine. I felt like I wanted to chase every sale because I want to grow my business. I want to get my name out there. But at the end of the day, your health is your wealth. And without your health, you cannot create a new product. You cannot go out there and sell, and it will take a toll on your body. So yes, you want to pursue entrepreneurship, but my recommendation to you is strike a balance. And my mother tells me that every day, strike a balance. It takes time. So what I have done is I have sought help. I have started building a team of mentors. My own is a board of directors, yes, even if I'm a small business. I ask for help in marketing. I ask for business coaching myself, even if I do it for others. I have a business, I need it as well. As an entrepreneur, you should not be afraid to ask for help because you cannot do it on your own. And where I lack the expertise and the skills, I collaborate, and it makes life a lot more easier.
Thank you very much. And as you said, I remind me of something that came to me just yesterday, that you hear a lot about people talking about having multiple streams of income. And something that occurred to me yesterday is that to really be happy in life is not a matter of having multiple streams, but reducing your streams of labor.
Right.
So you have to be able to live a comfortable life, the life that you want, with as little labor as possible. So that
That's financial freedom.
Yep.
Yes, financial freedom.
Yeah. And one thing I like to add, and it's something I started to experience last year. So, being self-employed and being an entrepreneur, two different things. And be wary of the idea of being self-employed. It can be a trap. It can be a trap, and you can become a slave to that thing if you're not careful. Be very wary of it. So you're more than likely going to start there, but be mindful. And it will, if you so choose to remain there, that's up to you. But the way I say it, you should, like you say, ask for help. And help, it may not necessarily be outsourcing. A lot of the times it means also having a team of people that you can start building a team for employees and stuff. Because if it's just you and then you were to fall ill, then your life will fall apart. And like she said, even the health part is not that you will be able to sell products, and this your life experience is going to deteriorate because you get sick, and it is not worth it at the end.
Very true. So we want to, we were quite a bit over time. We want to take a few questions. Before we take questions from the audience, from the Zoom, we want to know if anyone here in the audience has any questions. Anyone? I guess you all were very, very good.
It's for you. What advice would you give? What advice would you give someone who is in the creative field, like a digital artist or a painter or anything creative? What advice would you give them?
Advice in terms of how to monetize or develop, or I mean,
someone who's just starting, so how to monetize, how to be present, like to make
well, the beautiful thing about art is and I don't know where that thought came from the other day, but it's a direct road to people's heart, I believe. And most people are connected to things because of emotion, and they're emotionally connected to things. When you're an artist, that is a strength that you have, that whatever you do for music, for visual stuff, if you're good enough at it, it will connect with people. So I'd say, first of all, start by just being confident in what you're doing and put it out there. When you look at marketing, development marketing and branding, it's driven by art and creativity. So apart from you being able to execute that thing, it solves a problem. it solves a problem, it will solve a problem, and that's where I'm coming from. That it's photography and videography, and I really enjoyed, just being creative and expressive in it. But then I had to realize it can solve a business problem, and I had to go in search of that business problem. So I'd say for one, just put yourself out there first of all, so people can know what to do, and continue to master your craft. I can tell you that before I left my job, and I was like, boy, I started music, and I just wasn't convinced that music was going to make it. So I ordered a camera, and by the time the cameras landed, I'd already know how to use it. I never touched a camera before because I just spent hours just doing courses on YouTube, reading. So I started to master the crafting before I had the tool. So continuously build the talent, nurture your talent, and find out how it can be used to solve a problem and align yourself that way. Sometimes you have to do it for that your creative expression, but if you do solving a problem, you don't have to make money. Yes, so that's very important that you can if you want to live off of it, you have to align it to how best, what's the most profitable problem you can solve in that skill. Yeah, that's what that's it.
Anybody else? This question is for either Tony or Ghandi. With tech startups having US origin, have you avoided stopping American ones in a context where it did not apply? How have you built a context-specific business?
That's a really good question. Yeah, so hello? Yeah, so I'm saying that's a very, very good question. I can tell just asking that question means because I'm thinking about it. But everything about Shopdm is context specific. And unless, like, regardless of whether you realize it or not, because like businesses are a vehicle to solve problems in a context, like necessarily businesses need to be context specific. So what are we doing that's context specific? Well, like one example I like to give is our addresses. So people always laugh. But when you go to Shopdm, you add something to your cart, you go to check a page, it's gonna ask you for an address, and it's gonna say line 1 and then description. And in there, what we expect it to do, and what people do is they type, go down the road to Martin. No, I'm serious. Serious. Like, and that's because that's how directions work in Dominican. Like if we put zip code there, well, there are no zip codes in Dominican. So there's like everything that we do, we're thinking we're building this for Dominicans, and Dominicans includes people who aren't of Dominican origin that are in Dominica that get into the Dominican culture. So I can't, like, if I like went through that, I would just be listing things about shopping, but
So just something that really applies there to show our specific. We just added a new feature to the platform, allowing the stores or the sellers to represent their brand and the product better. We originally had banner, we had the logo, but now we allow sellers to do videos. They put a video, them talking about the story, the background, and then what we did is instead of like in any other country you would have a like button, we put a bigger button, right? Bigger, right? So there's I'm not gonna go down the line of things that we're gonna like specify and personalize for Dominican culture, but like we are thinking of that in every step of the way.
Somebody said they are interested to hear from Linvor on his scale of process and finding export markets.
Okay. In terms of scaling up, when we just started, it was like I said, it was basic equipment, and we just reinvested everything. Everything, just put it back, buy better equipment, improve the whole process of production to make it more efficient. And in terms of the export, coming back to trying to make the product the best that you can, you're looking for, it's a long-term thing, you're not just trying to get a quick buck. So the moment we chose which markets we would want to enter, and we decided it was the French markets because, you know, Euro. And we checked the basic requirements for entering those markets in terms of nutritional facts, in terms of processing procedures and food safety and those things. And the moment we hit those requirements, from there we, even before I started sending out some emails and stuff, and people also emailed us. And actually got a few interests, and then we finally chose someone and then chose people in those countries. And from there, we just tried it, sent the first shipment, and then just go. But it starts from creating the product to a standard that the outside market would approve. You have to remember that there are international products on their shelves. So you need to make the product look appealing and make sure it's safe in terms of when it comes to food. Make sure your product is safe, you don't want to get sick, and those type of things.
Okay, so there are 3 general questions. Number 1, do you see value in agro-processors merging to form a strong, cohesive unit which would enable them to access higher amounts of marketing?
Yeah, so I remember when we started, that's an idea I brought to a group of us who started together. It's simply of just, I don't know if I could call them, but we simply just, I told them, why don't all of us just come together and form one company? You know, and at the time, I think because we were so small, it was kind of challenging and also we didn't have a space to do something like that, to house all the different equipment, because all processing cannot be done in the same room. Some products you can't have it in the same production line as others. So the first thing would be to have a proper production space and coming back to the proper commercial equipment. But that is something I am interested in, and I see it will work and it can work. And I think if there are more agro-processors like myself who continue to grow and improve their product, I see that something that will happen eventually.
The next one says, is it possible to set up a roadmap to successfully grow a business?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna share this with somebody else, but this is my opportunity to just like give a call to all businesses in Dominica. Like a very easy way to find success. New business, old business, entrepreneur, small business owner, is just do what you say you're going to do. And people will come to you, right? It's basically customer service, consistency, and do what you say you're going to do. And that is by itself a roadmap to success. It's sad to say, but customer service is lacking in a lot of businesses in Dominica. It's not something as a Dominican I'm proud to say, but I think if a lot of businesses just pay attention to that, they will see a big difference in customer response, retention, and reviews.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ghandi said it most, but I also want to add patience. As an entrepreneur, if you don't have discipline or patience, you wouldn't get really far. Being successful is wholesome and it starts in your mind. You know, I can wake up and say, I'm going to be successful and I will be successful. I know with entrepreneurship, there are times when you may get down and out because things aren't working, but you need to have a strong mindset to pursue your goals. And even after you achieve those goals, what next? What are your plans? What are your processes to take you to the next step, to pivot? Because success is really growth. right? And you know, we're living in an economy where people might say there are challenges to overcome. There are challenges which you may not be able to deal with. So in order to succeed, focus on what you can control. That's most I can say.
Yeah, so we said it already, but partner up, because I kind of, like, one of the like hardest things for me doing Shopdm has surprisingly been the mental challenge, because we started Shopdm with the skills. We had skills together, but perfect. We had, like, initial financing wasn't a problem. So we just go and it's a low capital intensive business. So we could really just get started. But surprisingly, one of the hardest parts of Shopdm to me is just, you get down, like, oh, this partnership is going through, customers are buying this thing. You work really, really hard for 3 weeks building something, and then no one pays attention to it. And it, like, that has been the hardest part for me. And then having a partner that, like, isn't down at the same time you're down, like, that actually really helps.
So you feed off of each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That is one of a variety of reasons that I've done.
Okay, so the last question. What do you think can be done to make our MSMEs more aware of how to approach equity finance?
Well, I can pass it on to them, but I'll say, first of all, just start doing your research. Start ask Google that question. I mean, context. No, I'm being serious. Sometimes we have questions we're looking for answers, and that's what Google is and YouTube is there for. So start there, because that's where I actually found answers for that question, and even understanding how that whole idea of equity and the different types of investment setups and stuff. You can start. The businesses can start there to open up their mind on that.
Yeah, and in mind, my method would be exactly what you said. Have all your financials, record your sales, your expenses, because even if your revenues are not that good, you bring it to an investor, you could tell them, well, this is the overall image of the business now, but it is at this because of this issue. But at least you have your numbers to back it up. And recording is everything. You can't go to a bank with a recording. An investor will not look at you if you don't have your records. Just simply record your expenses and your income, and just continue doing what you're doing. And then eventually, just from doing your business, you'll find that people approach you because they are a customer, and they will just approach you, say, they would like to be part of this. I've had this happen to me before. And then you could also target specific people to invest in you. But you need to have your records, as basic as it is, just have your records.
So they've said most of what I wanted to say, but to add, to make it as easier for you, start watching Shark Tank. Shark Tank will show you and teach you how to pitch your business. I recently taught the entrepreneurship course at UE, and one of the assignments was to pitch your business in 3 minutes. You'll be amazed how many established entrepreneurs do not know how to sell their business. 2, build a network. Put yourself in rooms where you can have conversations and network with people that can take you further. And finally, watch Shut Up.
Yeah, so definitely it's everything I said. I would take it from a different angle, because that's the foundation, but like one thing that became clear to me, or like thought to me over a while, is when you get equity investment as an early stage company, people actually are not investing in the company, they're investing in you. Right. And that's really good, because like in developed countries where equity financing is very established, there's like ladders of equity. So you start at like angel or really or even like definitely angel. So angel investment, it would be like your friends and your family most of the time, or like one or two high net worth individuals. And then the next one after that is pre-seed, and then you proceed, and like it's until your seed series A, you're not really talking to pieces. Before that, you're talking to people who care about you personally, your friends, your family, your mom, your dad, your girlfriend, your mentor. So it's those people that you need to be appealing to. They probably already know what you're doing. So then you have to like stop thinking of it as finance and realize like the lubricant for that finance is your reputation, right? Like if people think you're a straight up person, because they're going to give you their money, so like they need to know, it can't be a thought that like you might go do something that isn't related to the business, right? Like that's just the basic. And then on top of that, like but along the same lines, like because you're appealing to people, like you really need to get them bought into the thing. So like one thing we're trying to do is just put ourselves in front. We're trying to be very open. This is what we care about. This is what we see. This is what we want to change. If you believe that, you can become part of it, and that has seemed to work very well.
Thank you for that. So as we wrap up, just want to give each one of our panelists a minute or two to just say, inform the audience of something that they're working on, future project, or anything they have in the type words, just an opportunity to sell your business.
My mind is running. I have like just ideas and those ideas that basically I can't focus on right now because Shopdm is taking up too much time. There's the 10-hour, 12-hour, sometimes 15-hour days are ridiculous books that I'm trying to write, bunch of different things. But as mentioned in the intro of me, I am working with a few very talented kids. I've been dancing since high school. It was my passion. Basically, I've been representing Dominique in international competitions since maybe 2012. I've never been making a big show of it, but like almost every year I've traveled represent Dominique, and now I'm trying to grow the scene, basically the hip hop scene, make it understood, the way using dance, creativity, and so on to kind of cope with life, so to speak. So I just put together a group of people. We formed an association. We're trying to get some partnerships going so that we can get some projects going on the island. Just like there would be a cricket team or football team in schools, I have a vision of there being a proper breaking group. And when I say breaking, I'm not talking about Michael Jackson stuff. I'm talking about spinning on your head, flips, and all those things. I am working on that. I'm pushing really hard. I myself am training because it offers limited with the amount of teachers that are available in government because it's not that much of a thing yet here. But that's my side pastime thing that I do. Big up to the kids that I work with. They're putting in a lot of work. And we're supposed to travel to represent Dominique in the end of May in one of the first inter-Caribbean competitions in March. So that's awesome.
When in the first year of me starting my business, I had a problem. It was a good problem where when I saw the courage to really start one business. I just ended up starting a whole set of different things back to back. And then so much I realized that I needed to stop because it's not a matter of starting, it's a matter of being able to continue and stuff. But in that short period of time, apart from launching KAHZ Media, I also launched inspirational, motivational brand called Live Before You Leave. And it's something I've been just printing t-shirts, and these t-shirts have been selling themselves. However, I've always had a vision of creating it, turning it into a platform where persons looking to try to figure out what they want out of life, and they can make sure that we can discuss and share ideas where what you want out of their life, and the actions what you're actually doing, they're aligned to actually help get you there. I say that as a precursor to say that we're in the process of opening up our office right now, office and production studio. So not only serve that purpose, but as far as building brands, building healthy Dominican brands, which is what KAHZ Creative Inc. is really about. Yeah, so just final touches on the office and the studio space right now. So we're excited to be launching that. We also launched a Made in Dominica platform, which we featured Choco Dominique on. Yes, actually our first feature, where we tell the story and just share the vision, and the whole aim behind that is to propel Dominican brand. So everything really comes into tie into that. All the different aspects of our business comes back to that. So we have another episode on the way that should be launched very soon. Hopefully all goes well. I have a meeting for sponsorship tomorrow with a partner to actually come on board. So quite a few exciting things in the pipeline.
Just show the partner this video.
Yeah. In fact, and Ghandi touched on something earlier that when you have an economy or a system where you have that flow with your, your supply chain, right? Then you have that luxury of probably going and tell people about what you want to offer and go back and build it. Well, that's not practical here for me. So what I really did with Made in Dominica, and it seemed to have worked, was I did it. I didn't wait on nobody. I had all my equipment ready. I go and do it, and I keep doing it. And after I do it, I will go and see if you can come on as a sponsor. By the waiting for anybody, you know, to go and say, I have an idea to do this now. Do the work and then let the work speak for itself. It works that way. So a few things on me.
Thank you.
For Choco Dominic, 2020, 2021, because the price of cocoa, as I said, went from $5 to $9 over the years. So that year, I planted a couple thousand cocoa trees, hoping in a few years' time we can at least supply ourselves with the bulk of it. We did that up in Salisbury. And right now we started producing chocolates. It's available at a few of the supermarkets. It's a soft launch to get the feedback from people. And yeah, so we just really want to solidify Choco Dominic before we move into any other products. So those are the two things we are working on.
Looking forward to testing.
Okay, so we recently launched our website, myfinancefocus.com. So if you want to know how good you are with money, head to myfinancefocus.com and take the quiz. 2 minutes. You'll find out your relationship with money and what you should do to improve it. Next month, Finance Focus turns 5, and we have anniversary celebrations. We will be unveiling a mural at the Convent High School, so look out for that. And for those of y'all who are interested in learning about investing on the US stock market, look out for our investing course coming soon.
Thank you very much. So once again, I want to thank all our panelists. I think we had a very, very fruitful discussion, touching on a lot of different topics. I personally learned a lot. I hope the audience learned as much as I did. So thanks again, everyone. And thanks to the Rotaract Club of Roseau for organizing this most interesting and educational panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
On behalf of the Professional Development Committee,
and the child Rotaract from Roseau. We'd like to give a hearty thanks for this, for taking time out to us about entrepreneurship and what it takes to become an entrepreneur, the challenges.
Yeah.
I think it's
overwhelmed before.
Yeah, I took some notes myself, so it's into what.
Action.
Into action. Over time. Once again, thank you.
A pleasure.